Hi everyone, David Aragona and Mike Beer here taking a look at the Sunday race of the day. It is race 9 at Santa Anita, the Pasadena Stakes. This one going 1 mile on the turf course for the 3-year-olds. 8 runners signed on for this race. And if you want to handicap along with us, check out the race of the day page on DRF.com. You can get free all access past performances for this Sunday race of the day. Like a really intriguing field signed on here. Plenty of horses that have questions to answer, whether it be layoffs or switching surfaces. But as I was handicapping this race, I didn't feel like there was any horse that I could just completely toss out from consideration. There are cases to be made for a lot of these.
Yeah, I agree. I guess the presence of the 8, the Baffert horse switching surfaces, just sort of adds intrigue here because if that horse can switch his dirt race over to turf, he's going to be really tough in here. The 7 is a filly with a ton of talent. Taking on the boys here. She'll be looking for the right trip in this race. This race, it kind of handicaps wide open.
Let's take a look at the Timeform US Pace Projector to get some clues about how these horses might sort themselves out through the early stages. And Mike, point that you were just making, if the number 8, Tis Secure, handles the turf, he's going to be a tough foe for these horses. And he's also going to be a major pace player because he was stalking a pretty honest pace going 6 furlongs on debut. So you would imagine they'd look to be aggressive from this outside post if he takes to the turf. But there is speed drawn to the inside. The number 1, Freedom's Not Free, and the number 3, Friendly Confines are stretching out from sprint races. And the number 4, FOMO Joe, has run some of his best races from the front end.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see how fast this pace gets. I mean, the horses that you mentioned that are sort of drawn more towards the inside and a couple of stretch outs too. It feels like they almost have to be forward in this race, but make no mistake about it. If Tis Secure handles turf and breaks running in here, he's faster than these horses early.
Let's go through this field from the rail out, beginning with the number 1, Freedom's Not Free, who tried the dirt a couple of times before they switched over to the grass. And not a big surprise that he was able to step forward with the switch to turf because he does have pedigree to handle this surface. He's a half-brother to a horse named Freedom's Way, who did his best running as a turf router. This horse, though, has sprinted in both turf starts and won the turf debut impressively. They tried the Baffle Stakes last time, and I thought he ran pretty well there, Mike. He got a 4-wide trip around the turn, ranged up, looked like he moved maybe a touch too soon and paid the price late. But watching this horse run, he's got this big, long stride on him. He's got pedigree to go longer. He strikes me as one that is going to be just fine stretching out in distance.
Yeah, I'm not worried about him stretching out either, especially breaking from the rail. I didn't love the trip that he pulled last time. I'm not suggesting he was going to beat the winner of that race anyway, but that wasn't a great trip. I thought his maiden one in the grass, I thought it was fine. I didn't, necessarily love that performance, but he ran okay in there and ran better than it looks last time. He's a major player in here.
Yeah, the only knock is that he's getting Flavien Prat, which might get you a better trip, but is also going to hurt the price a little bit. Number 2 is Shea Brennan, who's one of those trying turf for the first time after 6 dirt starts. And Mike, this horse has some quality. He's a real fighter. We saw that last time when he kind of bowled his way out into the clear and was disqualified for doing so, but got his nose down on the wire first in the Cal Cup Derby. I just don't really see the turf pedigree with this horse.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, all of his dirt races are pretty good against Calbreds. And he, as you mentioned, he's a real fighter. He's very versatile, too. He can get any kind of a trip in a race. So I just didn't see the pedigree to suggest he's going to be better on turf, and he's going to have to be better on turf.
Mike, sometimes you go back and watch replays and see the price that a horse was when he won and wonder how you could have gotten there. And it feels like maybe Friendly Confines was let go by the bettors or overlooked a bit too much at 18-1 last time when you go back and watch his one prior turf route on debut where he did not get a great trip at all and looked like he might have more to give than he did on that day. Well, that was the case last time when he was able to win towards the front end every step of the way, going the 6.5 furlongs over the flat course at Santa Anita. Now he's stretching back out around the 2 turns against the tougher field, probably facing a more difficult pace situation. So I feel like this horse ran decently well last time, but I still think he's got some more things to prove.
Yeah, agreed. I didn't necessarily want to bet him back here as they just step him right up into a stakes race. He ran fine last time. It seems like he could move forward again, at least at some point, even if it's not here. But you've already sort of alluded to it. Last time was kind of the time to have it, even with the layoff involved.
The 4, FOMO Joe, just on the surface of things, did run his best race going this distance too back when he just barely lost a similar type of race in the Eddie Logan run down by the quality horse Artislas, who had a nice foundation under him as a 2-year-old. And he finished behind today's rival Freedom's Not Free when they cut back in the baffle last time. Maybe the faster pace of that sprint race didn't really work for him, even though he did win his debut sprinting 5 furlongs. The problem with the Eddie Logan, Mike, is this horse just got to go as slow as he wanted on the front end.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he ran well in there, but that was a super slow pace. I was actually surprised in that most recent start when they cut him back last time, David. I was surprised that they just didn't get aggressive with him at all early in that race and didn't really try to make the lead. Maybe they was trying something different there. It seems like it didn't work out. Maybe they go back to the aggressive tactics this time.
Mike, I'm kind of two minds about the number five Precision because he was an interesting horse coming into the Eddie Logan after showing some talent in Europe as a 2 year old. And he did not get an ideal trip that race. We mentioned how slow the pace was, and he made this premature backstretch move, which rarely works out. But then you look at the fractions of that race, and he made that premature move into a quarter that went in 26 and 4. So, how much work was he really doing in the second quarter of that race to make that move? And he just had no finish whatsoever. So, I'm questioning his quality a little bit coming into this spot, even with that trip last time.
Oh, man, I have the same take that you do. I mean, you never want to see a horse launch like he did as early as he did, but the pace was so slow. And it's also worth noting he's not the only one who made that move. Sabretooth, who finished third, he made the same move up the inside, and he was still sort of hanging around at the end of that race, and Precision was not. We'll see if he can rebound a little bit. Mike McCarthy's on a pretty good run. He's going to put blinkers on here. I did like this horse's 2 races overseas, so maybe he can bounce back.
Number 6, Rank, is trying the turf for the first time. He's still a maiden in his 9th career start, but even though he's stepping up from maiden company into a stakes race, he might actually be getting class relief because just check out some of the horses that have beaten him in his career. Getaway Car, Gaming, Journalism, Rodriguez, Baeza, all horses that are talked about on the Kentucky Derby Trail, some of which are going to actually be in the Derby starting gate. And Rank has actually run decently behind them, picking up pieces in a few of those dirt races. Distance is no problem for this horse. And Mike, I look at this pedigree, we're still learning about Honor AP as a sire, but on the Dam side, the Dam was best on the turf. He's a half to 4 turf winners, one of which was a 5-time turf winner. So there are things to like about this horse.
Yeah, you almost wonder what took him so long to make the surface switch. And then you have to wonder why they're making the surface switch here in this kind of a race. But either way, there's potential for him to handle the surface here. And he stacked up pretty well with some really good dirt horses. He's not for me. I don't like this spot for him necessarily, but I don't mind them switching surfaces.
The number 7 will then really improve with every single start during her 2-year-old season, breaking her maiden at Woodbine from a stalking position. And then last time, we'll take a look at the replay of the Jimmy Durante, where they took her way back off the pace. And yes, they were moving up front, but she made this big, wide move off the turn to run away from this field at the end. She's stepping up probably against the tougher field here as she tries the males, Mike. But if she continues on this upward trajectory, she could be a handful for this group.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Running her against the boys, I'm not sure what what else there was for her to run in for Jonathan Thomas, but either way, don't think she's overmatched by these horses at all. She's looked really, I know the figures maybe don't suggest it. She's looked really good in those last 2 wins. Powerful runs through the stretch both times. She just, even if she has to sit on the outside, it doesn't matter. I don't know. I think she's pretty good. I think she fits pretty well with these horses.
Yeah, and I kind of wanted to be more against her because she did get the pace to close into last time. Then I watched some of her workouts coming into this race, and it seems like she's doing well enough to give Jonathan Thomas the confidence to try a race like this against the boys. The number 8 is Tis Secure, who is the real wild card in this field because he was impressive on debut. We'll take a look at the replay of that race as this is a dirt sprint, so totally different situation than he'll be facing in this mile turf race, but he stalked off the pace, made a wide run into the stretch, and settles this race in the end, running away from the field with a solid 84 buyer. Mike, just 2 things were weird with this horse. The fact that he's running back in 2 weeks, which is not one of Baffert's MOs to come back quick with a debut winner like this, and also just immediately switching to the turf, despite this horse having really no turf pedigree to speak of.
Yeah, I don't really understand this horse running in this race. I thought he was really impressive winning his debut. I don't get anything about him running in this kind of a race. Maybe Baffert, listen, Baffert's a smart guy. I guess he knows more than I do, but we'll see. He's obviously a wild card in here. We'll see how he handles the surface.
I did find this DRF formulator fact for this situation with Bob Baffert and trying turf for the first time in a stakes race over the past 5 years. Not only has Baffert 1 for 16, but only 2 have even hit the board in that sample. So has not a whole lot of success doing this, and we'll see if he's able to buck that trend with the number 8, Tis Secure. Let's go to our picks for this race, Mike, and I'm going to go down to the rail with the number 1, Freedom's Not Free. Just watching this horse's last couple of races on the turf, I get the impression that he wants to go longer. Maybe he doesn't have that natural acceleration over the shorter distances, and his pedigree suggests that might be the case. And I just can project a better trip coming for him with Pratt getting aboard, drawing the inside. Just not sure the price is going to be there, but I think I'm have to swallow a shorter price on most of the horses that I was considering.
Exactly. I didn't think there were that many interesting long shots in here. Maybe I'm just not giving Freedom's Not Free enough credit in here because he's obviously a major contender. I just feel like his turf races are okay, and didn't really want to take necessarily a short price on him. I'm happy to take the filly in here if she's not, a super short price. I really like her races. I think she'll stack up well with these horses, and I just the longer I looked at it, I wouldn't bet Tis Secure, but I kind of feel like if Will then doesn't win this race, I feel like maybe Tis Secure goes to the front and somehow wires this field.
Yeah, between the two first-time turfers, I definitely preferred the pedigree on rank. I've got him in the second spot, but it's possible Tis Secure might just be better than these horses if he handles the turf. We'll see. He's the wild card. 7-8-5-1 for Mike and 1-6-7-4 for me in this DRF Sunday race of the day, the Pasadena race 9 at Santa Anita. Good luck if you're playing the races this weekend.